YouTube, and welcome to lesson 3 of the After Effects tutorial series. Today we're going to look after something called the alpha channel. So first of all, I'm going to create a new composition, and then I'm simply going to rename this as alpha lesson, okay, because that's what we're going to learn about today, and we're going to create some fancy effects using it. So I'm going to leave it to SDTV 1080 25. That's the format we've been using. And then to make sure that I get my full screen, I'm going to go over here and set this to fit up to 100% so that I can see the whole screen. So now, before we start up with our project, we got to know what alpha channel is. So now I'm going to grab a shape from right over here. I'm going to drag this, and as you can see, this is a red solid color. So I'm going to import a picture. Let me just double click here and then import a picture. And if I were to drag this onto my layers panel, you can actually see that the red solid shape actually stays on top of the picture, and we cannot see through the red shape. But let us do something and let's see what happens. Now inside the shape, inside the option of the shape, you can go inside the transform controls, and you can see something called opacity. Opacity means the transparency level, and as you can see, this is 100%, and that means it's 100% opaque. Now I'm going to drag this down a bit, and as you can see, as I drag it down, you can see through the picture, and then I can see the background. And as you can see, now the solid layer is a bit transparent. So now if we were to look at the alpha channel, what is alpha channel, by the way? Okay, so that's what we are going to learn over here. I'm going to hide this layer, hide this photo layer by clicking on the eye icon right here at the left, and then I'm going to see the red. And as this is a bit opaque, you can actually see that I can see the black background through the red shape. And if I were to increase the percentage, this becomes solid red, and I can drag this down and make it completely transparent. So what happens in the alpha channel is that it changes the color. We have something called the alpha channel in all of our layers, which controls the transparency of a shape. So to access the alpha channel, I can actually go over here in this little RGB like color, red, green, and blue color. I can click on it, and I can simply choose alpha. And as I do that, you can actually see a gray color, which stands for semi-transparent. I can increase this or decrease this. Increase or decrease, and as I do that, you can actually see that the color of the shape changes. But this is the alpha channel. That means if I drag it over to 100, that means it's 100% opaque. Nothing is visible through the shape. While I drag it down onto 50%, it is gray. That means it's semi-transparent. And I can drag it down to 0, which means it's fully transparent. So now, if I were to go over to the alpha channel, again, let me enable this layer right here. Let me resize this picture. Let me hold down Shift so that I can resize it properly. So now, here you can actually see that every part of the picture has a different color. Let me bring another picture over here and drag this below. And now, nothing is visible through the first layer, as you can see over here. And if I were to bring down the opacity, you can see that it becomes semi-transparent. So now let me hide this background layer again, and let me see the alpha channel for this photo. If I were to see the alpha channel, you can actually see that it is completely white. That means nothing is transparent. So if I drag down the opacity, you can actually see that the color changes, and it means that the transparency changes. So no matter what the color of the picture or whatever color there is on the picture, the alpha channel remains the same. So if I were to go over to, let's say, if I were to go over to RGB, it actually changes the color. So it has a lot of colors, but its alpha channel is gray. So I can see through the picture, as you can see over here, if I were to turn on the layer. So now let's focus on the other concept, and that is, like, if I were to turn up the opacity, and you can see some dark spots over here. that's the screen of the mobile, that's completely black, we say that the luminance of this area is low, and while the luminance of this area, the white spots are high. So that's something known as luminance, while alpha refers to the transparency. The term we use for luminance also might refer to luma. That also stands for the brightness level of a picture's area. So now let us come up with something. Let us just type some text over here. We're going to look at something called the track matte feature. That's this little thing right over here, which does all the magic. So I'm going to type a text. Let me type the text tutor tube. Let me select the text and let me do this. Let me choose a very bold font like Myriad Pro. Let me choose it as bold condensed and resize that. Okay, that's my text. And I'm going to change the color of each of the letters over here. I can select the U, as you can see, and change this color into something else. To change the color, simply go over here at the right, which on the character option, click on the color and choose the color you want. I'm going to choose this as green. I'm going to fast forward this so that it'll become easier. Okay, as you can see, I recolored the tutor part while I left the tube part to red. So I'm going to drag a picture below the tutor tube text. So you can see this is what I get. I can even resize the picture. Oh, sorry. Let's go back to composition over here. Now, as you can see, I can resize the picture. I can go into transform. I can scale the size down so that I get the amount of picture I want. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the alpha channel of this layer, this text, and apply it over on to my image right over here. Let me hide this layer so that I can explain it to you. Now, if I were to see the alpha channel for this, you can actually see that it is completely white. And if I were to see, let's go over to the RGB mode, you can see that this O letter has high luminance, while red, tube, and T actually has medium level luminance. So I'm going to go over to my photo. I'm going to go over to my option called track matte. If you don't see this option, you can actually click on these small icon on the bottom left right here. So if you disable this, as you can see, everything hides itself. So I can enable these until I get the track matte. The track matte option is available on the second button right here. Anyways, you can see that the current track matte option says none right here. And if I were to go below, you can see that I get alpha matte tutor tube, alpha inverted. So let's see what it does. Let me choose alpha matte tutor tube. And as I do that, you can actually see that it takes the alpha channel of my tutor tube layer and applies it to the photo. So if I were to move the text, you can actually see that the background doesn't move, thus the text moves. So you can have a cool effect right over there. And the good thing about this is it also works great with video. So if you want a video playing in the background, you can do that as well. So now if I do that, you get this. I can also choose the alpha channel over to alpha inverted matte, and as you can see over there, now it reverses the thing and then simply turns the text black. That means it just reverse the transparency over there. Now let us see what happens when I choose the Luma matte. So if I were to choose the Luma matte, you can actually see that the O, okay, let me take this at the top so that you can see the difference. The O and U is brighter than the rest of the text. That is because the luminance of O is higher than the rest. So alpha matte takes the alpha channel, that is the opacity level of the main layer, and applies it to the picture, while Luma matte actually takes the luminance and applies it. So if I were to choose Luma matte inverted, you can actually see that the text appears quite different, and the transparency level is set according to the Luma matte instead of the alpha channel. So now I can also control over the alpha channel. Let me just choose alpha matte, and you can see something amazing over here. So I can go over here, I can resize this, or let me just change this, and you can see that the opacity controls the alpha channel right here. But in case of Luma Matte, that isn't the case. So let us just see if we can do this with a picture as well. So I can drag the photo on top of this. Let me just resize this. Resize it. Let me go over to transform, scale this down, put it on top. So as you can see, the picture has disappeared. So I need to change this alpha channel into no track matte. So now if I were to change into alpha matte, you can actually see that it just took the alpha channel of the upper layer. If I were to choose Luma, however, you can see that the two photos actually merge with each other and create an effect. So you can do that. You can move on the picture and you can see that it acts quite in an unusual way and gives an interesting effect. So you can use the Luma Matte and Alpha Matte accordingly to create the effect you want. In my case, I do not want that, so let me delete that. So now, as you can see, now let me use that to create an awesome effect right here. And for that, I'm going to delete the photos. I want to import a video right here. So I'm going to double click on it and import a video so that I can have moving videos inside of the text. So I'm going to bring this video clip called The Morning Sky. I'm going to drag this on to the layer I want. So I'm going to deselect this, type something, let me just say tutor 2, drag it up, rescale it, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the track matte to alpha matte. And I can play this. And as you can see, the video plays behind the text. So as you can see, the video actually plays within the text and it kind of looks cool. You can also animate this text. You can simply select the text, go over inside to transform, and add in the position keyframe. So you can add in a keyframe over here. Let me go to 1 second, drag this up, hold shift so that it goes up straight, and hold shift, let it go down. So now, as you can see, the background does not move, just the text does, and you can see the different parts of the video. So you can just experiment with this and create awesome effects. I can also choose some text and maybe use the Luma Matte, increase the color, maybe just choose white, and as you can see, I can simply select this and change the color without even changing to the other option. So I can choose which text to work with and create an effect accordingly. So now what I want to do is I want to add in a background color, and to do that I have two options. I can simply click over here and drag over a shape behind all the layers, or what I can simply do is I can right click, I can click on new, and I can simply choose this option called solid. And what it does is it creates a squarish shape for me which covers the entire background. So I can simply choose the color from over here. Let me choose something like blue, press OK, and then I can drag this at the bottom, and as you can see, I got a background layer. Let me just turn this back onto Alpha Matte so that I can see the exact video. So I can also change the color, and as you notice something, it does not let me change the color directly. Most people would try to double click it, but that does not matter. So let me go back to composition over here. Let me select this. Let me go over here to layer while I'm selecting the solid layer. I'm going to go over to layer. Let's go to solid settings. You get something called solid settings. I can reselect the color I want from here. So I can simply move it to the side and then reselect the color that I want. Press OK, and you get this awesome color in the background. So I have my background color, and then I have my moving text. Or optionally, what you can also do is you can change the background color of the composition itself And for that, you can actually go to the composition, right click on it, go to composition settings and choose the background color. Simply double click on it, choose the color you want, and as you can see, that is also another way to choose the background color. So or I can also use this color picker thing right over here and then choose the color I want from anywhere around the After Effects screen. So I can simply choose this color, maybe because I like it, and press OK, and voila, you got that background without needing to add some solid layer in the background. Now, you know what offer channel is. And offer channel, this is just the basics of the offer channel. There's a lot of possibilities on what offer channel can do for you. And now, finally, I'm going to show you what cool effects we can get from it. So now I'm going to use the Luma mat. I'm going to simply type in 222 and then resize the text as I want. I can add in something called a stroke in this text. So let me just add in a stroke from the bottom selection stroke color right here. As you can see, this is the main color, fill color, and this is the stroke color. So I can click on double click on this, and then you get the color picker, and then you can simply choose the color you want. Let me just choose white, and let me just choose, let's say, a grayish color right here. Okay, so now this part has more luminance and this part has less luminance. I can also increase and decrease the size of the stroke by going over here. I can increase and decrease. As you can see, I can simply drag it up and down. So I'm going to drag it around the point of 2 pixels. Okay, I guess that's enough. I can also increase the text size if I want to, but I guess that's the limit. Now I'm going to go over here under the track mat. I'm going to click this and I'm going to choose Offer Mat 222, and the stroke effect doesn't take place. So I'm going to now choose Luma Mat 222, and that's what we get. And that's what we get as an effect. So now I'm going to render and save this out. So before that, I'm going to change the background color from the composition settings. Let me just select blue. Okay, let me just drag it down. Okay, I like this color better. Now I'm going to go over to the beginning, maybe add in some animations. Yes, so I want this thing to pop up from the left and then go inside the transform tool and then select position. I want to add the keyframe in the position. Go over to 1 second. Drag this over to the right. So I got an animation like this. So now I do not want the animation to stop right at the end. So I'm going to do something called easy ease in. So for that, I can drag and select both of the keyframes, right click, go to keyframe assistance, and I can simply choose easy ease. So once I do that, you can actually see that there's an acceleration and deceleration in the motion right over there. And then I'm going to export the video. So for that, I'm going to go over to File. I'm going to go over to Export, Add to Render Queue, select the output module, I'm going to select QuickTime. Let's go to Format Options. That's it. No need to change it. It's already S.264. I'm going to disable the audio because I do not really have an audio. Just press OK. Then I'm going to select the output folder, and for that I'm going to go over to my 222 folder right here. Let me just save that and render it out, and we are done. So let me just navigate onto that folder. It's on files and it's on my folder called 222, and then this one is the file. Let me just open it with VLC. So that's it. That's our animation, and that's the basics of the offer channel. So keep on, and that's it. That's the basics of the offer channel. And like I said, this is just the beginning of what we can do with an offer channel. So this is very important for things like green screen and then things like transparency and so forth. So keep tuned to learn more about it, as I'm going to include that in my future upcoming videos. So that's it. Please do like, comment, subscribe, and share the video if you like what you're learning. Bye-bye.